Batman, on a level, you could be the greatest individual in football history.
We are back with another video, and today, listen, we got a special guest. Obviously, we got Ty here, my co-host, and we're also joined by Marcel from United View. How you two doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you, man. Very good. Very positive right now. Feeling very positive about the direction of where the club's going, for sure.
So you're going to get cooked for that straight away. I know you are.
I don't want to laugh here, but 5 minutes before Marcel came on, Baines goes, Ty, he is the Mr. Positive person in the world of Manchester United. The way he just said that is bang on. Fair play, Marcel. I like how you actually just say it as it is. You're really positive, which we'll probably dive into as well in the show. But do you know what? I'm so happy to have Marcel on. Me and him have been interacting so much. And I just hit you up on a random one. You said you're free. And I'm hoping that for all of us, this is the start of many more over the season, man. Because I think we're three great guys who don't just shout about, we talk football, and whether we disagree correctly with each other. So I love that, man. So yeah, big up everyone inside watching as well. Obviously, when this goes live, Statman's channel, like, subscribe, Trafford Tunnel, like, subscribe, and United View, obviously Marcel is as well. Big up them guys.
Ty said it all. Listen, I get cooked for how positive I am with United in terms of how I see their recruitment strategy. Marcel, explain why you're so positive to the viewers.
Well, right now we've got Ten Hag that's coming. I feel like one of the best managers that we've had, Statman, for God knows how long, man. In terms of a proper coach, this has got to be the best appointment that we've made. I really didn't want Poch. I wanted Conte at first when he was available, just in terms of the short term. But this is like a project now. And that's what makes me more positive. This is a long-term project. This is changing a complete revolution of how we play football. We've not been a possession-based football side. So it's going to require, a lot of technical footballers, and the overall enjoyment of the type of football that we're going to bring to the club now, I think, goes up. In terms of the immediate situation, in terms of transfers, I think that's the biggest saga at the club right now. We're the biggest club for me, or one of the biggest in the world. So there's a lot of speculation of the type of footballers, and it's got to be positives. They're good footballers that are coming in, technical footballers that are coming in. It's taken a little bit of time for the business side of things to get done, but we've changed our structure, Baines. That we've centralized the scouting system. 2 scouts have left. We've made alterations to the type of like the football director, those kind of positions there, coaches. So little changes have been made, and when you're making changes, it takes time. You need to live out the time in which to see the proliferation of these changes. But at the end of the day, very positive early signs. Technical manager, coming in, playing technical football. And the signings, De Jong's it's a statement signing for me. And if we can get that over the line, that's a huge positive. Anthony, I saw him. I went to Ajax for the last game of Ten Hag's tenure at Ajax. It was really, really good vibes. Yeah, it was really, really good vibes, time, man. And just the quality of football, the way that they play their style. It's going to be hard to implement it in the league, Baines and Ty, but it's like, Pep had this problem, teething periods at the beginning of his tenure here. Klopp had teething problems. And for me, this has got to be one of the best managers, the up-and-coming young managers. There's so many good things to be positive about now. So let's see if it comes out.
I like that as well, what you said, because when you look at football fans, obviously, Baines, I went and watched Ajax. This is in 2018 when Ten Hag had just taken over the job. I think he was 6 months in at this point, and Marcel is one of few that I know have gone to Ajax and watched, obviously, Ten Hag's football. And I think when I was there within that 6 months, they even still had Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. Van der Beek, funnily enough, scored in the game. I think Van Persie had just signed for Feyenoord in that January transfer window. That's about how long ago it was. And they won 2-0. And the right winger was not Anti, it was David. Is it Neres?
Neres.
Yeah, Neres. Yeah,
Neres.
David Neres. And he was linked to a lot of clubs back then. And when I watched him, I was like, whoa, he's underwhelming. But Van der Beek and Ziyech were good. And one thing I did like, which Marcel said, is that they really do play football. Like, a lot of the ball is played in the opposition's half. Yes, they might play a bit of a higher line, and people talk about pace and Maguire and so forth. But the brain comes first. If you've got the brain, the pace will come later on. It doesn't matter about that. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of the football, I think Marcel's bang on right. And I think, going back to when we won the league, which seems a long time ago now, 9 years we're talking, Alex Ferguson, I was in my second year at uni. This is clear for me the best manager we have got at the club since that period. 100%. I know that people will say, yeah, but you had Mourinho, and some people rate him up there with Pep and so forth. It doesn't matter about names of manager for me. It's about style of play, also fitting with that club's DNA. And I think with Mourinho, it was kind of try and win some trophies as quick as possible. The club were like scared about losing that trend of trophies. But for me now with Ten Hag, I've said it, Baines, Marcel, trophies doesn't matter for me. I just want to see better football at my football club. Better football first, the trophies will follow after. I've been to Manchester United plenty of times since Ferguson's left, and I've left there underwhelmed. I've been going to games not knowing what to expect. I've been disappointed. I'm now going to go to games next season. Once some fixtures come out tomorrow, I'm sure we're all going to be looking and trying to go to a game. When did you have that feeling of, I'm excited to go to a game, I want to get tickets? Baines, you've got tickets with Vallecano, the first preseason game at home. That's what we want to feel like. When we feel like that, what do you think them players feel like? The players that have been at that club, playing that football that they might not like, have been there 4 or 5 years. Marcel Rashford, who you know I love, 1920, a phenomenal display under, obviously, with Greenwood. But then last year and a half, petered out. They must be wanting to go again, 23, 26, getting a proper coach that they've not had since probably Louis van Gaal. Let's be honest, he's now the Dutch coach. I just feel like in terms of manager, that is the perfect appointment in Ten Hag. Someone who's coming into the game, still learning, but also experienced at the same time. Going to play good football. I think he'll have a good understanding with the players. And it's kind of like now, if they don't want to swim, you can go. And at the end of the day, Ten Hag wants to build his team. We've had managers pussyfoot around and keep players like Lingard because we don't want to lose value. These days are over. And I think, touch on it before we get into the main bit of the show, is that where Marcel is saying that like he's really happy and comfortable, in some elements, I actually do agree with him, because when you look at Manchester United's summer so far, we've got rid of the players such as, like we said, Pogba's going, Lingard's going, Matic is going. So yes, it's not the whole clear out of Phil Jones and Bailly. I get it, but it's hard. They're employees at the end of the day, but some have gone. The board have then made their changes. So if people are saying, right, okay, we're June the 15th now, how much have Man United done? Well, we've sorted out upstairs so far. We've got rid of some of the players that we needed to get rid of. Now it's about getting the players in. So we've done 2 of the 3. So we can't just do everything at once. You can't drive a car in gear 1, 3, and 5 at the same time. So for me, we're slowly getting there. And once that first player comes in, I think a few will follow. I think it's just getting that first one over the line.
And I feel like the first one is obviously the hardest one in De Jong, because he's the one that needs the most convincing, and he's the statement signing. If we can get De Jong over the line, wow. Because I'll be honest, as soon as Paul Pogba left, I was like, how are United going to replace it? I had no clue. And I was like, we've seen United over the last couple of years. We are so bad at recruiting replacing players. We even saw it with Ronaldo when he first initially left. And De Jong's a massive, massive signing. But what do you think about people who think, like, in terms of people are growing, like, people are just massively frustrated with our transfers right now, how slow we're working? What do you think about that?
Well, I understand the frustration. The rivals are strengthening, and they've finished points and points above us last season. So, you know, Haaland's a world class, one of the best players in the world. You know, coming to the Premier League, it's down the road from us that he's going to. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool strengthening. We wanted apparently Darwin Núñez. You know, there's speculation around us getting Darwin Núñez, and he's gone to a even fiercer rival in Liverpool. So, you know, and then Chelsea have started. No, sorry, not Chelsea. Spurs have been strengthening as well. You know, and they've made multiple signings. So I understand the frustration, but at the end of the day, we have to look at what we can do to develop ourselves, our priorities, what we're doing for our football club. Ten Hag's come in early to start business early, to start the process early. You know, we have to focus in-house first, fix what's going on in-house. You know, the structure within the club, the players that we want to get. Ten Hag, as far as I'm concerned, he's made it a priority signing that he needs to get De Jong in. If we only was to make one signing, who would it be? Frankie De Jong. He's the key part of how he wants to play, how he wants to bring the ball. Even though some people won't see Frankie De Jong as a 6, and I don't, I'm one of those. You know, he likes to come out with the ball. Sometimes when they convert into that back 3, he will come into the back 3 and drive out with the ball. Even if he's not the 6, you know, the 6 will still hold the midfield line, but he wants to go into that defensive line and come out with the ball.
Ball carry, transition it into the other half. Yeah,
perfect, exactly that time. So for me, it's like we have to believe in this process. We have to believe in what the manager wants. The business side of things is very simple. You know, Barcelona don't really want to sell this man. They have to sell this man. So they're still haggling and understanding their situation. If they can improve their situation, we might not even get him. So we you know, there's so many factors that we have to be patient for, and I'm just more happy to be patient because I understand that once this man gets the football and we're driving in gear 5, like Ty was saying, it's going to be fabulous football, in my opinion. And I believe in that process. I believe that that's going to come into fruition. That's why I'm so positive
100%.
in this zone right now.
I think that comes as well. Like even with Gear 5, if it comes in 3 years, I'm happy to see us win games, lose games, draw games. And as much as Liverpool are our fiercest rivals, I don't like them at all, of course. But Jurgen Klopp, he was the manager I actually wanted after Ferguson, if I'm honest. But you look at Jurgen Klopp, what happened in his first season? So many muscular injuries because they couldn't even deal with the intensity that he was trying to play at. If you look at the squad he actually inherited, I think, wow, like look at the turnaround he's had, but it's the patience he also had at the same time. He didn't get there overnight. It took about 3-4 years for him to get to this, this stage where he's got a team that's ready to challenge on all fronts. But I'm now willing to have a Ten Hag / Jurgen Klopp project where we see better football, we see an overshift of players, and then in 3 years' time, if we've got a team that's then able to maintain and sustain a high level of football and challenging for trophies, that's what I want. I wouldn't want to, win the league and then all of a sudden you don't win nothing for the next 5-6 years. That quick shift where maybe Chelsea, Antonio Conte comes in, wins the league, and all of a sudden you finish in 8th and then they're not challenging for a few years again. I'm happy. We've suffered for 9 years. Why not suffer a bit more, but with better football under the right manager to know that in 3, 4, 5, 6 years' time, we're going to have a proper outfit. And I think one thing that goes under the radar that people are not piecing together with De Jong, and it's funny because Van der Beek was a player that everyone was talking about last year. He needs to get more game time. He needs to get minutes. Now, for me, if we get De Jong, it's not just about replacing Pogba. What is he doing, Ten Hag? Yes, you've got Van der Beek back, who's not even played 3 games in a row for Manchester United in 2 years. That's equivalent of a new signing for me. Then you've got De Jong coming in with him. What's that basically telling you? The Ajax team that got to the semi-final, the team that won the league, he's already pieced together 2 of his 3-man midfield. 2 players that know how to play that system. And when you know in football, if you have a midfield, they're important when it comes to the attack. They're important when it comes to the defense. They hold it down in the middle of the park. They do a bit of everything. And with De Jong and Van der Beek, you've already got 2 players. Yes, I know Bruno has done well since he's come in. Some don't like him. We're not going to talk about Bruno in that sense. At the end of the day, that's Bruno Fernandes. That's another conversation. But you've got Van der Beek and De Jong. All you need to do then after that, whether it happens this summer or not, you get a number 6 and you've effectively got his Ajax midfield back. And we know what that can do. That won away at Bernabeu. They won at Spurs. They went to Juve and won. Like, these players can play football. And you know what? If we get De Jong and we spend 70 million, so be it. At 24 years of age, we've got a player that's going to be here for 4 or 5 years in his prime. He's actually coming into his prime as a midfielder. He's not 28 and you're like, oh, has he got the legs? You're not questioning anything. You're just saying, right, can Manchester United get this deal over the line? You're not questioning De Jong's ability. So having him and Van der Beek, I think it's going to be massive. And also, people need to realize it just goes beyond them playing on the pitch. You go into training June the 27th when they come back from pre-season, and who's helping these other players get used to the system? Van der Beek and De Jong. It's massively important. People don't realize that, like you said, Marcel, it's not going to be an overnight fix. Going from a team that we've never been possession-based football in the last few years at all, even under Fergie, you could say that, to going into that, they're going to need guidance. They're going to need that positional play. So I think Van der Beek and De Jong together is a huge thing for us, man. I think it goes under the radar.
You know what? Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I said this off air to you lot. People are worried about us like haggling over the fee and stuff and saying just pay the money. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. Why are United not going to do the exact same thing for a better playing De Jong? Like, I keep saying this here. You need to remember, we've had 10 years of incompetence under Ed Woodward where we paid silly prices. Clubs are still going to view United the same way. We can't fix that overnight. If we're haggling over the fee and negotiate a correct fee, this is going to be better for the long term of this club. We need to try getting the best fee for this. We can't just continue doing what we did under Woodward and like people keep saying like, oh, we paid it. Like, we need to stop that kind of thing, innit? We just need to be patient with the summer. And that's one thing I think a lot of people were kind of moaning about.
Well, with you, Baines, then, okay, so if you're saying that obviously we've overpaid for players, which we have done, of course, in the past, if you're looking at someone like De Jong where people are saying, right, oh, just pay whatever it is, just get it over the line. What are you satisfied with yourself? In terms of what would you say, right, okay, is the benchmark of, right, we're starting to overpay? Because as much as we all want De Jong here, there will be an element of course, your first bid is going to get rejected because that's how business works. And they say, right, they're going to obviously come back with a second offer. What for you is deemed as acceptable?
I think the report was 85 million euros, isn't it? But I think that was I think that was more of a guarantee fee without the add-ons. If we can get that down with add-ons or something, I'm fine with it.
So would you take like?
Because let's be honest,
would you take 60 million? Would you take 60 million pounds plus 15 million in add-ons? Say 75 million pounds.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant deal.
Okay.
If United could do that, because of how important I know De Jong is going to be for Ten Hag.
What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, what don't you balance it though, Baines? The fact that it's such an important deal, just pay the money. Because I think you've really changed my mindset, because I'm definitely one of those people that were a bit nervy, like just pay the money. It's so high on the priority list, just pay the money. We know that this is
okay. So you're just pay the money, Marcel. You're just
But when Baines, when you say that, stat man, I think no, that makes perfect sense for the long-term goal of making sure we don't get mugged over, making sure that business is correct from the day one. Make sure business is fine, that you're not you're haggling over little prices, and making sure that they understand, you want to be taken seriously within the market. That's perfect way to be. Even though it's priority signing, it still has to fall in line with certain other kind of procedures. So I agree with that. But I just thought in my mind, why wouldn't you want to pay straight away for a player that's such a big part of Ten Hag's plan? He's the number one priority. I think he spoke about he wanted certain things in place before he signs, or he wanted certain assurances in terms of his role and what kind of things he expects. And definitely, I would feel that his first thing was get me Frankie De Jong. He spent all this time calling him, convincing him. Personal terms seem like they'll be wrapped up. Just pay the money now. I understand
when you want someone so much. What's 7 to 10 million pounds when you think this guy's going to be so important in the long run? I think how I look at it is always like with De Jong, just pay. But with other signings, I would then understand Baines' logic of maybe we can haggle it down or work on it, because it's not plan A of we need this one player in. Yeah. So
the only reason I think United have the ability to do that is because obviously Barcelona's financial situation. Like, as much as Barcelona have a contract in De Jong, I don't think Barcelona are the strongest in this negotiation period. Barca need to sell; they need the money, and I think that's where Murto, Rich Don, and whoever's negotiating the deal has to capitalize on, and which is why I think United are not going to go in with that stupid offer straight away. And you need to know we're still early into the transfer window. The transfer window only opened on Friday. It's not like United are desperate that we're going to pay the money straight away, kind of thing. In a way, we still have got time, which is why I'm very, very patient with the De Jong deal. Another thing I wanted to talk about here, and me and Ty were talking about this yesterday, the midfield balance. Because people have suggested, obviously we made an offer for Christian Eriksen, which we'll talk about. Eriksen, Donny van der Beek, De Jong in the midfield. And I just said, no.
Eriksen, Donny van der Beek and Bruno.
No, Eriksen, Donny and De Jong.
And De Jong. Well, I guess it depends how you're looking at it. I'm going to be way too maybe deluded kind of positive.
No.
How you look at
deluded, man.
It depends how you look at it. Firstly, I think Bruno can play as an 8 for the club. I don't think a lot of people say he's an out-and-out 10. He's nothing more. I think he can play as an 8. His energy and industry, we can use that defensively. He just needs to be learned and coached and be put in the structure a bit better. So I think he can be utilized as an 8. If De Jong isn't the out-and-out 6 that I think sometimes in my mind when I'm thinking about it, that Ten Hag might utilize him as, and he's more disciplined and he's just holding the line a bit and controlling the tempo, a bit like Sergio Busquets, Rodri, like Ty was saying off camera. He's not that type for sure though. He's a lot more mobile and he's a mover and a ball carrier. But if he can maybe be that type of 6, then maybe. But I agree with you guys. It's just not. It's too lightweight. It's not defensively disciplined enough out of that kind of combination of players. Eriksen's not great. He can play the 8, but you'd rather like to see him in the 10.
Yeah,
it just doesn't look right. There's no strength there. There's no solidity to that team in the midfield.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think I was where we saw the tweet. I saw Flex, tweet under it, and then I responded to the James guy, who was the original guy who tweeted it. And I was just like, I feel like that's the type of midfield where, okay, if we're playing at home to Chesterfield in the Carabao Cup or something like that, you might say, do you know what? Let's score some goals early, 60 minutes, get the game and rest these guys. But if we're talking about a Manchester United team now where you're playing in the Premier League and you're playing in, Europa League, which, yes, have got some better teams coming into that competition now. I'm sorry, but you need stability. You need some balance in there. And I think one thing you'll do if you played a De Jong, Eriksen, and Van der Beek midfield is that with De Jong, we said it off air, like you said, Marcel, he's a ball carrier. I think in terms of his defensive work, he does get, I'm not going to say caught out, but in terms of the space he operates in, because he likes the ball carry, it then exposes us and leaves spaces in behind. If you want to get players like De Jong into the club, I've said this in group chats, you want to get De Jong in to play him to his best ability. You don't want to get a player in and sort of take elements of their game away. And then all of a sudden you've got an 80 million pound player that you're making look 40 million because you're not playing them right. We've had the same issue with Paul Pogba. Pogba is a brilliant player. We all know it. Like, as much as certain people online, they have their say, of course, have your say. But Paul Pogba, when you look at France, look how brilliant he is for France. People are already screaming now. Look at France's results recently. Oh, because Pogba's not there. You bring in Paul Pogba, and we've always said, like, we've never quite played him in that right position. We try to play him in the pivot with Matic and so forth, and these little things haven't worked out. I don't want De Jong to unfortunately be that player again, but due to not being his fault. If you get De Jong in, we still need to have that number 6 in there because, yes, that space he then ball carries and goes into and floats around and makes the third man runs. We know in our heads, we've got someone protecting the space that he's now, exploiting in a sense, which teams can then go on hit of them transition. Look at Fred and McTominay. We've seen it. They're not even defensive midfielders, but you could say, in ability-wise, they're more naturally defensive than De Jong. Look how much teams overrun us this year. Look how many teams beat us in transition with ease this year. One pass through the middle, done. So for me, I feel like, yes, buying De Jong's brilliant, 75, 80 million, whatever it will be, but use him to his strengths, and we still will need a number 6. And I was saying to Safo earlier in the Trafford Tunnel chat, Baines, that for me, imagine the smart business of getting De Jong and then having Eriksen, who can then rotate with Bruno and give that sort of element to number 8 or 10 role, whatever you want to say Bruno's playing in. And then having a number 6. You could have a new midfield for 95, 100 million. So say, look at Basuma. I'm going to throw him right there and there now. I said off air, Basuma was the type of midfielder that I wanted. People say that, yeah, it's defensively lightweight. Well, go and look at the position and the way he played against Spurs away when Harry Kane tried dropping in them pockets. They lost 1-0 and he couldn't get a look in. So Basuma and De Jong would be great for me because they're mobile. He's good on the ball. He knows he can sit in front of the back four and De Jong can then go forward. And that's how I would look at it. We need to get a number 6 in. And I think the big money on De Jong can then go to like Ibrahim Sangare, people are saying from PSV. I will never bullshit. I've never watched him enough. I watched him in the Conference League against Leicester, 2 games. Very hard to judge someone when you're sort of playing on aggregate and trying to chase a game down and stuff like that. But we just need to spend 35 million and get a shrewd defensive midfielder in and De Jong and then Eriksen. 105 million, you could say, and you've got 3 new players that do transform the side, do give it a new lease of life. We need to be smart in this market. There is opportunity, and I feel like in recent years we haven't used that opportunity. This is a big opportunity in this window.
So do you trust the board to get a 6, guys? Do you like, so is there a scenario where we do get Frankie De Jong, maybe, and it's for the right price, like Baines is saying, because we're haggling for well over a long enough time now, so it's a price that Man United are happy with. But at the end of the day, we still have footballers in there, like you said, they're employees. I don't know if that was on or off air.
Yeah, that was it.
Employees at the end of the day. So we've still got Scott McTominay around. We've still got Fred around. Do you think that that Ten Hag decides to utilize them, or the board say, well, I've got 2 footballers there already, James Garner on his way, there's so many midfielders already that are there, Pereira coming back. Do you think that we go into the market and get a 6, or do we try and makeshift the 6 role and then maybe go into the market for your striker or your right winger? Or
I'm not confident. I'll be honest with you. I'm just gonna say it as it is. I think we get De Jong, and it's not that I don't think Ten Hag doesn't want a 6. I just feel like the board might say, okay, well, you've got these options, like you said, assess them and see where you are first. Because I think it was similar to when Rafael Benitez come in and they tried making loads of changes from Ancelotti's previous role, because Ancelotti tried making a lot of changes. And the board were like, well, Benitez, we're not going to let you spend loads of money because we want you to assess the squad first and see where you're at. Now, Fred and McTominay, I actually am a fan of Fred when he's not operating as a 6. And McTominay, I'll be honest with you, I don't like him, but attitude-wise and personality of the club, he might do something good at training. I don't know, but I don't like McTominay. But I just feel like the board are going to say, do you know what? We've got you, De Jong. Now assess the rest of the squad and then make a decision. And I also feel like I'm worried about the centre-back situation, Marcel. So I'm glad you said this question, because when you look at the centre-backs we've got, We've still got Axel, we've still got Phil Jones, we've still got Eric Bailly, we've still got Maguire, Lindelof, and Varane. We're talking about 6 players there. So what are you going to do? Sign another 2 centre-backs and you've got 8 on your roster?
Dude, that's why I was having an argument today.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Like, this is what I said, because there was a report, I think Darmy Chef in it. Darmy Chef said, like, the centre-back position is not a priority because United have to sell first, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And
you
this is
6
the problem we're having.
And people say, like, okay, the centre-backs are injury-prone and all of that stuff. It don't matter. The club are still going to look at it as there's still 6 centre-backs on the books for the first team who have played in the first team before.
And you probably could say the way we pay our wages, it's expensive.
Yeah. Like, we got Phil Jones, Bailly, and Axel. Those 3, I think, have a possibility of leaving.
Yeah.
And then I think United will push for a centre-back, whether it's Pau Torres or Timber. And I'm like, it makes sense, and I'm fine with it. Because at least, as much as we might not rate our centre-backs, we have bodies there. Midfield, that number 6 role, we have no one. Without Nemanja Matic now at the club, there's literally no one there. James Garner, we said it. I spoke with a Forest fan the other day. He said he plays better in the 8 or in the 10.
Wow.
So he's not a 6 either.
Yeah, I don't look at it as a 6.
De Jong, we were talking about it earlier. Ten Hag literally said in 2019, he leaves the middle of the pitch too often for that. And if you don't give him the freedom to go forward, you won't get the best out of his game. And that's what he said about the lone 6 role.
Oh, I didn't even know.
So no matter what, United need a midfielder, that 6, or like that defensive-minded midfielder, which is why I'm like.
So do you think, like Marcel's question though? I said no. Do you think we get one then?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, I'm kind of with you. I think United will try to get away with it, and in pre-season, I think obviously Ten Hag will assess the options. In my eyes, the options are not good enough. I think James Garner needs a love alone. Scott McTominay's not good enough. Fred's not 6. And then United are going to have to go for it. But then the next problem is what you said. Are we waiting too long? And are our targets in that 6 role or that defensive-minded midfielder role going? Basuma, for example. Do you worry about that?
Ruben Neves is still touted. Ibrahim Sangare, who I've seen a lot of clips of and I've watched 3 games in the Dutch league with PSV ages ago. I don't know many options really in terms of CDMs. You know, Ndidi was a good shout. I don't know if that was on or off air tie. Ndidi's a really good player.
Do you like someone that's a destroyer like him? Just gets the ball and gives it 6 yards and then says, right, you lot do your thing.
Especially when you've got Van der Beek, De Jong, Bruno, Ericsson potentially. So like creative footballers that like time on the ball, can see pictures. You don't need somebody out from deep like a Pirlo or anything, you know. You most probably want a destroyer type. So yeah, I would prefer that, especially in the Premier League. It's hard, it's tough. Alongside a ball carrier and a creative player would make a good balance in that midfield for me.
But do you think, because like we've had this argument before, I don't think Rafa Varane's the best on the ball. So from that central area, so you're going to have that number 6, say if it's Wilfred Ndidi, not the best on the ball. And then obviously Varane. Do you not worry about that?
Varane is all right on the ball. He's not like the best player, the best defender on the ball for me all round is maybe Lindelof in terms of ball carrying and passing, long passing, but he's just too lightweight. And same with Varane, really. Varane, it's a good piece of business in terms of financial, but what we're coming to find is that he can't play 7 games in a row, 8 games in a row. We're struggling in that kind of, and I'm not a Maguire fan. I think Maguire needs to leave. Tuan Zabi, I think we could get maybe more out of him, and Eric Bailly, we could get more out of them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bailly, man.
Yeah, I think we could get more out of those players, but you're right, man. Varane is not a brilliant passer of the ball through the thirds. I feel like he plays good long passes, but through the thirds, zip passes on the floor, I don't think he's good at. So I agree with you, but that's when De Jong, the shape usually for Ten Hag, he likes De Jong to come into that midfield, into that defensive line to sort out all of that out. Give me the ball and I will start distributing to the wide areas, to the midfield, to the forward. So maybe does that mask that problem? I think maybe, yeah, to be honest with you.
That's what Real did very well with Varane as well. They had obviously Luka Modric and Toni Kroos dropping deep to get the ball.
Yeah. You still see them traits carry over now. Whether Eder Militao is better on the ball than him or not, that's separate. But in terms of the style, they've still adopted that. You saw against Liverpool in the Champions League, it was always Modric or Kroos coming deep for it. And it's so funny because it was never Casemiro coming for deep for it when he's actually the natural defensive midfielder. So with that, actually, Marcel, I know it's a bit diverting. In terms of centre-back partnerships, what's your favourite, by the way?
That's a good question, man. Honestly, because I don't think we got to see a lot of Lindelof and Varane, or like you didn't get to see enough combinations with Varane in it. But I think the most successful one happened to be Maguire and Varane. I think they were played very well together. But I would like to see maybe, and you're talking about other centre backs that we have now.
Yeah, we have now.
I really want to see a partnership of like Varane and maybe Eric Bailly.
Yes, my brother, love it. I was hoping. I was just like, this is my question for him. Let me see how he answers. Sorry, you can. The red carpet's yours now.
I really want to see that partnership come into fruition. Just because they've got a lot of blend of, a lot of bravery there. There's so much. They've got so much to their game.
One can sweep.
It's good. But both of them, like, if one of them's not being successful in something, the other one can maybe do it. And then they're both well balanced. They're just both really injury prone, which is just crazy. Apparently we're changing our fitness department as well in terms of our fitness coaches and stuff. That's meant to be in terms of stamina and running, because our running stats are really poor and that kind of thing. But if we can get those two players fit, it would be really good to see them two as the partnership.
Yeah, I fully agree. I've been waiting for that partnership and I was itching for it last season. And my question, obviously, in my head is, does Eric Bailly still want to be here?
I think
obviously,
he's
Ten Hag's coming in. Exactly. And it's like...
I agree.
Yeah,
he was linked with a 10 to 12 million pound move today, I think to Lyon. I think
really?
I can't remember.
See? Like if it was me, like I'd be having a conversation with someone like Bailly. We all think alike. Like when you don't have to be obviously the best individual, but if you match the pairs, I do feel like with the pace and the sweeping side of things, the aggressiveness, them two as a pair come in well. Yes, it might be a bit questionable on the ball. That's the only thing that I'd worry about if I had them two as a pair. But then, like you guys said, Dion could come deep and receive the ball. But Maguire, Lindelof, they're too lightweight. And I just don't feel like, for me, they're going to get better. If anything, they're going to regress. And I think that's what I'm looking at now. Like, what players can really progress under Ten Hag? Is there potential in these players to improve? And I just don't see really where Maguire can. Like, you saw last night, him coming on for that England game. And I'm not saying it's just all Maguire's fault, but the static movement, like, it's just a bit poor, if I'm honest, for a Manchester United captain. Like,
I said this to you before. There's no chance Maguire gets worse. And I'm not saying
he can't.
Exactly. And I'm not saying I rate Maguire massively. All I'm saying, we're going to have better defensive structure. Our midfield structure is going to be a lot better. You can't physically be worse. Which is why I'm like, as much as people criticize Harry Maguire, you never know what Ten Hag could get out of him. I'm not saying he's a miracle worker or anything, but this is the worst version of Harry Maguire we've seen over the last year.
100%. You know what kills me, Baines, though, is that, like, a funny saying in football, big up Safa, he always says this: the best ability is availability. And with Maguire, he's actually the one out of all our centre backs that give us that availability. And it's sad to say it. Sorry, Maguire, if you're watching, which I don't think you are, but it's sad for me that it's him who's got the best availability, because, like you said, if it's Bailly and Varane, we have got two very strong centre backs, but Maguire's always there, ready with his hand up to answer questions from the teacher because he's fully fit. And I think with Ten Hag and like you said, with the fitness maybe changing as well, we're going to have a lot of energy in that team. Hopefully, he wants to play like a pressing team, and with Maguire being a fit, he's going to get chances, and he's captain. And this is a conversation that hasn't even been spoken about yet, which I kind of like. Like, a lot of people have put the captain talk aside, but Ten Hag's still going to have a decision to make on that. Will Maguire keep the captaincy? Because we know if he gets it, that means he's playing. So I would like to see him stripped of it so he can focus on his football. But then we don't know if that's even going to happen. Does Ten Hag
Why do you not think Ten Hag is brave enough to drop him, even though
I think to drop him, I just feel like
captain, not Fernandinho.
Yeah, but I feel that's different. I really feel like someone like Fernandinho.
I think the respect's there. The respect's there across the board from all the players.
You don't have to. You don't always have to play to be a captain when you're Fernandinho and that sort of team. Him and Pep have that understanding. Ten Hag coming in with a Manchester United team that suffered and suffering. Let's be honest. He's not coming into a Manchester United team where Ferguson's just won the league and he's walking in as the next manager. We need like picking up. And I think to come in and change the captaincy would long-term be a positive change. But for someone like Maguire and some people that might be close to it, they might be like, oh, shit. But I think it's something that needs to happen. That's what we need to happen. We don't want a manager to come in and sugarcoat things. We want a manager to come in and say, right, guys, I'm here and you've got to wake up, because if it doesn't happen, you're not playing.
You think that would be the biggest decision Ten Hag could make? Because I always speak about Pep. Pep first game in, Joe Hart out the door. Statement
Okay.
straight away. Taking Harry Maguire's captaincy is a massive statement in my head.
We have to know this decision before our first preseason game. It's not some. This is one of the first things we do when we go back to preseason. Yeah, if you do not change the captain a week before the Premier League starts, for me, you let the team know early. Right, this is the plan. This is what's happening. Let them acclimatise to it, because Baines, as much as we don't like Maguire, and some of the players in the squad might not, some players might. And if you're making a decision like that so close to when the Premier League begins, it could then have that immediate rebound effect where people are like, raw, and they're all gossip, like talking about it and so forth. We don't want that going into the first game of the Prem.
So you wouldn't even do that in 2-3 games?
No. Let them do that in pre-season. If Ten Hag comes in within that first week and changes the captaincy, I don't mind if they're moaning and having a little thing then, because at the end of the day, we're going through pre-season. He's adapting them. We're starting to learn the football. There's a lot going on. It will slowly go away. You don't come in as Ten Hag, start the training, start doing your thing, and then all of a sudden a week before say, right, I'm changing the captaincy. Like, just do everything at the start and iron it out. You don't iron a shirt halfway through and then before the night out say, oh crap, let me do the bottom. Nah.
Who are you giving it to?
I'll let Marcel answer that one first.
Controversially, I'm going to say Bruno. For me, I think Bruno Fernandes is the perfect captain for the club.
Why'd you say that?
But he's so divisive. So then the 100% easy, no mistakes is Ronaldo. Is, great attitude, great application, great personality for the team. Leadership, won trophies, knows the kind of standard that you have to uphold yourself to. But for me, it would be Bruno. If I was picking personally, I would say Bruno. But the no-brainers Ronaldo, and I think that's.
Is that because you look at with Bruno the longevity side of it as well? Because obviously Ronaldo might be gone next year.
Yeah. So longevity side of things, I feel like a lot of the players respect him, or he's got a good relationship with a good core of players, and just his heart. Like, a lot of people complain about the moaning. I like players that moan for the decisions that are going to benefit our team. He's complaining about things that are not going our way. His output, his work rate is very high. All these things just need to be honed in by, under Oli, it was Bruno FC. He could do whatever he wanted. He just needs to be honed in a little bit more, showed the discipline, shown the ropes, where to go properly from a manager and implement what a manager wants him to do. And he'll be able to do that well. That's what I believe.
Do you think he starts in the 10 though?
Hopefully, yes. I'm very positive with everything that, and my outlook on the club. So 100%, yeah. What I would say though, or just putting it in a different direction, do you think there's a scenario where we don't get Frankie de Jong? Because I think that could impact the captaincy as well. Because a lot of people are saying the captaincy role could be someone that hasn't joined the club yet. So, and he's maybe the pivotal sign-in. A lot of people are saying potentially him. Potentially, we was looking at De Ligt before a contract negotiation with Juventus looks very strong at the moment. But
I'd be great question, because people obviously assuming that De Jong would get done, and it's whether weeks, whether than days, of course, of the negotiations at the moment. But I'd be very disappointed. I feel like with Ten Hag and the changes we said earlier in the show about the board making the changes, we've got some of the players out now, to not get that main target when we know that Barcelona are ready to sell. Yes, he might need convincing to come, but if you've got Ten Hag, I feel like when you walk through the door, that kind of moves on and he'll want to be at the club. We have to get this deal done. I just don't feel like there's many replacements out there that are on his level and ability that are potentially available right now. I remember when City were linked a few weeks back and people started quaking in their boots because they were like, if he goes City, imagine how good he's going to be at Man City. Like, it is just imperative that we get this deal done. And I think Marcel might have said it earlier in the show, it's not just getting the deal done, it's the amount of time we're spending on it and the links. Like, to do all this and then not get the player, like, I think it's the worst foot to get off on. And I am actually quite confident that we'll get it done, but it might drag a little bit. But I am slightly confident that we'll get it done. And even going back to your captaincy point as well, by the way, I was just going to throw a spanner in. Like, yeah, you said Bruno, and I don't disagree with that. I can understand why you said Bruno. The logic's there. I'd actually like Varane if we had to go for someone that was available. Because, yes, Varane's had a tough first season. And I do feel like Varane's been... I wouldn't say he's been bad. I didn't think he was bad last season. I just think he was part of a team that was just, was bad. But when you actually look at Varane, I thought some games he played, I actually thought Varane was pretty good. And if we can get at least 30 games out of him next season in the league, I'm happy with that. But as another option, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Varane as a captain. I just feel like, yes, he's not the most shouty on the pitch and so forth, but if he can bring that calming influence and just that bit of measurement to the team, I'm all for it, because Bruno's still going to shout anyway. Ronaldo's still going to act like a leader anyway. So them having the armband for me doesn't change too much in their personality, because they are them people. Whereas Varane, he might be a bit timid, but if he has to step up a little bit, it might just bring a bit more out of him. So yeah, Varane would be my wild card choice as well.
That's a good shout. What
about you, Sam? Listen, it has to be my boy Ronaldo, isn't it? I think, like I say this all the time. Like, no one can question Ronaldo in the dressing room. If you get Ronaldo on side as a manager, that's it. I feel like you're fine, because we know Ronaldo's impact on the dressing room. As soon as you lose Ronaldo, you're probably going to lose the dressing room. So doing that decision to make Ronaldo happy, I think could be massive.
Yeah. 100%.
Why are you not doing a hit that?
But yeah, I like when
this guy just wants Marcel as captain or something, isn't it?
How many games this season does Ronaldo play though next season?
I think that's going to be
roughly.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And what if he's not playing great and we have to make a change up top, and then he starts throwing his toys out the
But
pram?
the mad thing is, that's probably going to happen no matter what.
Like, how is he with other players? I know we see some clips of him with the youngsters and Baines. You love it and everything, but I just feel like ego-wise, like, is he really the one that you want as captain of Manchester United Football Club? I just feel like I want someone who's quite balanced and level-headed. And I'm not trying to say Ronaldo is not in it, but in terms of the way he does carry himself, I don't want him captain of my football club. I would just be honest with you. I just don't think it's a move that's required. It's not a move that's needed. If he's going to play well and he's going to score goals, he'll play. And if he's not at 38 years of age, we make the changes. And having him as captain makes it harder for us to make them changes. I'm sorry.
I hear that, but dropping Ronaldo is always going to be a big thing anyway, because it is Cristiano Ronaldo.
And it'll be even worse if he's captain, Baines.
I'll be honest, I don't think it makes a difference with Ronaldo if he is captain or not. And the reason, and another thing about Ronaldo, I feel like he's the one that demands, that has respect of every single person in the dressing room.
Baines, if he's not playing, you're telling me he's not going to be bothered and making a fuss.
No. Yeah, but we know that. But I said this, even if he was captain, he would still do that. Even if he wasn't captain, he would still do that. It's literally Ronaldo's personality. We saw it when he came off against Brentford. He was moaning. That's Ronaldo.
I don't think.
Do you think him being captain makes him happy though? Because I understand Ty's point in the sense of this won't elevate his personality. He's been captain plenty of times. You know, in terms of the team, it doesn't elevate the team. Maybe him being captain. I think he already has captain status. He's a goal.
Yes,
I hear that. Yeah,
thank you.
I hear that, but like I get it. I don't think Ronaldo will care. But it's kind of like, who can he necessarily say in the dressing room deserves captain?
No one.
Exactly. So you might as well just keep it safe. Give it to Ronaldo, who's the biggest ego personality in the dressing room.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I understand what you're saying for sure.
It's interesting. I like it though, because Bruno, Varane, Ronaldo.
What about David De Gea?
Other than Ronaldo, I would go with Marcel shot. If I had to pick one, I'd go with Bruno if it went Varane.
What about David De Gea? A lot of people are saying David De Gea.
We're all the same on him. I've seen Marcel's tweets. I've got Marcel's tweets. You're not a De Gea fan.
No, I'm not. But I want to go and know you guys' opinions. What do you guys think about David De Gea's career? Like, and
to go in a year, innit?
We're all the same, man. This is short and sweet. Sorry, De Gea. I love you. I respect you. But after this season, which you'll get under Ten Hag, I do think your time is up, man. I just feel like he isn't going to get any better. I do feel Man United need to revolutionize, should I say. And I'll be honest with you, Marcel. I said it on a show the other day with other people and Never a Foul. And I said, there's three things with a keeper right now. And I'm going to give you three examples, right? You've got Alisson, commands his area. He can, catch the ball and then he's good at kicking. And he's good at shot stopping. For me, they're the three traits you could say the common traits for a goalkeeper. Alisson has them all. You've got Mendy. Now, I'll throw a medium one in. You've got Mendy for Chelsea. Yes, his kicking is a bit, but he's a good shot stopper and he can command his area with 6'6" frame. You then go to De Gea and we take it down a level. De Gea is a good shot stopper. He's not good at kicking and he can't command his area. He doesn't come out and claim corners or nothing like that. He's got one of the three traits. Now, for me, Manchester United to move forward in the goalkeeping area need at least 2 out of the 3 to be able to move forward. Edouard Mendy, I don't want Nick Pope, but Nick Pope's another one. Yeah, good shot stopper, and also he commands his area, but I wouldn't want him. But you need a keeper that can at least do 2 out of the 3 things. And I just feel like with this season under De Gea, I think Ten Hag will find out pretty quickly that you don't want him. And there's only one cannonball I'm going to throw in. The only one thing I could defend the game on potentially, if I had to, is that when you've got Maguire and Varane in front of you, are you confident in giving them the ball from your goal kicks or your throw-ins? Like, they don't fill me with joy. Every time Maguire's on the ball, I do panic a bit. Varane is sometimes a bit edgy. So in terms of like, if we
the centre backs can probably argue vice versa though. Are you confident in giving
yeah,
them?
Yeah, you probably could. So I'm not even saying I'm defending the game, but I'm just saying if the game had one thing to maybe say, do you know what? I'm not even confident in giving. I haven't got a Ferdinand in front of me or an Ever I can throw the ball out to. I feel comfortable with. That's the only defense I can give De Gea. But no, for me, this is his last season.
What do you think about the Dean Henderson move to Forest?
Good. Good business, but I feel like he had the opportunity to have the same trajectory as David De Gea in terms of when he first came into the first team, shaky, was very poor, and slowly became a man, learning his trade, got very good, world-class potential ability, and, really fulfilled it in terms of the traditional goalkeeping or the old goalkeeping sense, shot stopping, keeping the ball out the net. I think he could have done that. Plus his commanding of the area, a little bit more confident of coming out from his line, kicking could have improved as well. So I think we should have given him the opportunity to have that teething period that David De Gea had.
You know what's mad? I was thinking about it today, yeah.
Okay.
You know, at the start of the season, I remember Dean Henderson had COVID.
Yeah.
And I think he had long COVID. And I personally think if it wasn't for that, Dean Henderson would have been a number one going into the season.
Yep.
And obviously, he couldn't be number one because of COVID. And David De Gea kind of capitalized in terms of he was very good towards the start of the season, David De Gea.
Yep.
And that's kind of ruined it. But I don't know about the deal to Forest,
Do you think, though, even though
20 million, I feel like we could do better.
I think we could do better than 20 million, but then it's about whether the club
wages
wants to sell wages and if the plan is to then potentially bring in another goalkeeper. Because if the plan is to bring in another goalkeeper, we're going to get rid of Henderson anyway, whether it's in a goalkeeper comes in 12 months' time or not. But do you guys actually think, just even if the Nottingham Forest move don't happen, Marcel, do you think that De Gea is guaranteed to be our number one next season already if Henderson does stay?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people. So usually I would say no, but a lot of people have told me, that at the end of the day, this guy, he guarantees a certain amount of saves and clean sheets per game, and I respect his work and what he's been doing throughout in his tenure at the club. So I think he's odds on. He is our number one. So he should most probably, start as our the odds on two players that, at Ten Hag's mostly looked at is maybe David De Gea and Cristiano Ronaldo, at the bottom of the pitch and at the top, he's mostly said. Those are going to be my guaranteed starters most games.
Yeah, fair.
Ty's not going to be happy. Didn't hear Martial.
Oh, you put Martial in there? I'm a Martial out kind of guy. I can't lie.
You got it, Marcel. Ty might cry now. Look at him.
I don't want him anywhere near the club. He needs to go as soon as possible.
I've got a video for you. You need to see
Wow.
Look at this. This is how much Ty loves Martial.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I can really use a wish right now.
See, that better not get copyrighted on YouTube, yeah? But that's Ty's love for Martial.
Listen, why are you doing this, babe? This has been a great show. We've disagreed in the right way, and now you've got Marcel calling out his twin Martial, just changing a few letters around.
This guy, shameless.
I'll be honest with you. Actually, just touching on it. Yes, I've seen a couple bits of him on Instagram, whether he's working in the gym or not, but he's looking in trim shape. But I do feel like, and yes, I'm probably the biggest Martial fan there is, but I think ability-wise, and if he can keep himself fit and get himself back playing, I think we've got a player on our hands. Someone that's very intelligent in them pockets. Someone that holds the ball very well. Someone that can link the play very well. 1-2 touch. Very comfortable in all areas. And he was a very good finisher. Yes, his side foot finishes have become a bit in the last year or a half, you could say. But, if he can get himself fit again, and I think he'll be a great versatile option for Ronaldo up top. You look at Sebastian Haller. Of course, he was at Frankfurt. Went to West Ham, didn't work out. Ten Hag's got a very good tune out of him. And he can play back to goal. He's not the most fearsome in behind and stuff like that. So I do feel like I want Martial to stay. There was reports yesterday that we're going to look at him and assess him in pre-season. But I just feel like a lot of fans are remembering the last year of Martial. But really, if you look post-Fergie, he's clearly in the top 5 signings. And I still think at 26 years of age, he might have something to offer. But we'll see.
When would you admit Martial's done?
It will have to be this season. This is the last chance for him.
You sure?
Yeah, you could, and I'll remember this because
I'll
I will
keep
be able
this.
to say, you'll be able to say it was the first stream we ever did with Marcel. I won't be able to forget this. This is the last chance for him because I do feel like, you know, everything will run its course in its time. And I feel like the same for Rashford, apart from he's probably got a couple more years, or, you know, you could say that with his age, but I feel Rashford, it's a big year for him as well.
And he has
in terms
academy
of
tax
his
with him as
technical
well.
ability. Yeah, can he do something? It could be one of them ones in 12 months' time. We're looking at, you know, people want them both replaced. So, yeah, let's see what happens. But I just don't feel like the striker market right now is very pleasing. I think we're all in, you know, me and Marcel in our mid-20s. Satman, you're a bit younger, but I've grown up and I could say, right, 5 strikers off the dome when I was growing up as a teenager. Now, you've got Haaland, you've got the Vlahovic, and you've got Nunes, who's still very questionable anyway. After that, you're looking at Osimhen's, Jonathan Davids, your Calvert-Lewins, your Alexander Isaacs. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather have Martial than them. So right now,
Tammy
why would
Abraham.
we not keep him for a year? Tammy Abraham, exactly. Like, I would keep Martial for a year. So I'll be honest with you. Like, it's not like they're easy to replace. So
That's
we'll
a
see how
very
it
good
goes.
argument. I can't even deny you at all. That's the only thing. Like, that's the first time I really sat down and been convinced by anyone to say, you know what, there's a reason for him to stay.
Up.
But his wages are he's on 250 a week, Ty. Yeah, I mean, it's such big wages for no real trophies or anything of that sort, you know. That's a real good point to make, though. The striker market's really poor. 100% agree with you. You know, it's a lot of potential strikers, not out and out bags, man.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's not even that Martial is an out, because we know he's not an out and out striker. It's at the end of the day, it's the versatility he brings as well. We do know that he was a very good left winger, one of the best at dribbling when he was in his prime, and he was more mobile then. He's bulked up now. Yes, he's not as great there, but positionally, he's still smart. And I do feel like if you get a Van der Beek and you do get a De Jong in, and then you've got Sancho, and then you've got Ronaldo, Martial, and players like that who can play good football, linking up tight in the pockets, why can't they work? Like, there's opportunity here. Like I said, there's opportunity in the transfer market, and there's an opportunity with some of the players we have at this club. And yeah, I'm excited, man. I really want to get into pre-season. I really want to see how it does go. But you know, we've just got to have patience. Better football first, trophies come after. If people are wanting it the other way around, I'm sorry, but you're going to be, you know, putting 5 sugars in your cup of tea because you're not going to be happy. You're going to be wanting energy from somewhere, and it's not going to be at Manchester United. And you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how we do. I'm hoping that the next time, you know, we're on again, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we have one player through the window and, you know, through the door, sorry, should I say, and we could just hopefully move on from there, man.
Oh, quick.
Wait,
go on, Baines.
No,
so I was going to talk quickly about the defensive line. We haven't really spoken about defenders or anything, but the right back position, do you guys think Wan-Bissaka will be starting the season with us? I'll go to you, Baines, because you was about to say something.
I think he's gone in it. Like, I'll be honest. If we were keeping Wan-Bissaka as a third choice option, I don't mind him. But realistically, he's good enough to start in my eyes for a Premier League club. And I think that's going to be the key thing. And I don't think he suits Ten Hag's style of football the best. I think Dalot stays, and then I think the interesting one is going to be Ethan Laird now, because I think Ethan Laird's going to have time to impress in pre-season. Let's see if like we know Ethan Laird has ability, fitness record's an issue. Can he stake a claim? That's pre-season for you. James Garner, can you stake a claim?
Do you think and Brandon Williams is part of that, but I don't think he's good enough. But do you think we go into the market? You know, I've Tariq Lamptey. There's been I was looking at a player called Serginho Dest that plays for Barcelona, who's really good. Boy.
No, we did a show on right backs literally the other day. This is mad. And I said Dest as a while. Carry on, Marcel, but that's what me and Baines are like.
No, he's really good. He's Ajax. He used to play for Ajax, this guy, yeah? He's very technical, mad technical. Very good player. So him, Tariq Lamptey, Alex Aarons for Norwich.
Max
Aarons, sorry. There's a few right back options there. Do you guys think we're going into the market for one, Baines? Do you think that's something that we'll be looking at, or it's definitely going to be through youth, saving money? But there's like world-class right backs that are kind of, or not world, because I don't like to throw that word world-class a lot, but very high-level right backs. So Serginho Dest is definitely high level. That's maybe one of the, and because Barcelona have a financial situation, there's an opportunity there to kind of go in the market.
It's like he's watched the show, babe. I love that.
You know what it is, yeah? I feel like as much as I do want a right back, we need so many other positions. And I don't know if we're going to have enough money for the right back row. Because I do think we're going to get 2 holding midfielders. I think we will get a centre back and then one of a right winger / striker. So I don't know if we're going to have enough money for the fullbacks. And say if that centre back is Timber, Timber's obviously shown he can play right back before. Which gives obviously the club an option or Ten Hag an option of doing that. So I don't think we'll sign anyone.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think he's signing, or a lot of people are saying that a lot of the players that are linked to us play more than one position. They're competent in maybe 3 or 4 positions each and every time. So now I agree with that. That Timber can definitely play in that role. A lot of people say, do you think he's too small to play as a centre back in the Premier League at 5'10"? I think he is, or 5'11"?
You know what it is here? I feel like Timber's very, very aggressive, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I'm fine with Timber, but who is he going to be partnered up with? For example, say if it is Lindelof. People say Lindelof's not the best in the year. Varane, you question if he really has that physical presence about him kind of thing in the year. Maguire kind of has it, let's be honest. So that's why I'm like, I'm fine with him playing centre-back. It's just who's going to play next to him. And on the right-hand side, say if he's playing right centre-back, Dalot is actually very good in the year in my eyes.
So yes. I remember a lot of crosses that came in. He was very good at clearing them.
Remember Brentford?
Yeah.
I think he excelled in that game, eerily kind of thing. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, I think with the right back, I think it's a great question, actually, Marcel. I think both stay, actually. I think Wan-Bissaka and Dalot both stay, and I think Dalot will be the number 1.
Wan-Bissaka stays?
Yeah, I've got a feeling that, unless it's a late move, it won't be like, it will either be one of them ones that goes towards deadline day and he goes unknown somewhere. But I just feel like what you said, Baze, is bang on. Like, we've got other areas we do need to address. And I think then if Wan-Bissaka goes, then that gives us another area to address. And are we going to get 5 or 6 people in the summer? We can already tell that it's probably not heading that way. It's about getting the right people in. It's not about numbers. I think it's about the right people, and that means less people. So, I think both right backs stay, which I think is a good question. I think with Serginho Dest as well, I think when I touched it on Baines' show last week, it's a player that, yes, he's not done well at Barcelona, but Marcel, I even said the same thing to Baines. He's played at Ajax and played in that system, and I feel like he's still so young that he has a point to prove to himself, because he might be like, it's not really worked out for me at Barcelona. If we can get someone like him in, who's 22 years of age, whether it's this year or next year, we've got a right back that potentially could be there for a long time. And I think his pace and the way he does suit the Premier League. I think it was him and Mauro Gusto from Lyon, who's a very good up-and-coming right back. He's like 19, I think. He was the top 2 that I said, and then obviously left back we did a show on that as well. But yeah, it was Gusto and Serginho Dest for me. With Tariq Lamptey, I think what it was is that his injury record on top of what the defenders we have already, it just doesn't coincide with what we're wanting to do. You've got Luke Shaw, who on his day can be brilliant. Alex Tellez, I don't personally like. But then you've got, Varane, who is a good centre-back, but then he's not always fit. You've got Eric Bailly, who's not always fit, who I do like. And then Maguire is our best centre-back in terms of availability. And then if you have a right-back in Lamptey, do you sign for 40 million? Because that's what Brighton would want for him. And then he's not available. I just don't think we can afford to kind of take that risk. We need players that are going to come in and play 30 games a season.
What about Justin James or Pereira? They're both Leicester City fullbacks, but I really like Justin James's game. Very both sides. He can play on the left and on the right, but a huge injury. He's come back from a huge injury. And Pereira is meant to be really, really good anyway.
I think both. I like
both of them. James Justin's from down the road from me and Luton, like literally. So yeah, he's they loved him there. Like, he's a very good defender. Like you said, comfortable on both sides, and you can tell he's only going to get better. I don't know. His final delivery, I think that's an area he can work on. But if that's an area he's got to work on, then I'm all for that, because you can work on that. It's not like it's his positioning or his 1v1 defending. I think he's very good. And I just think with Ricardo Pereira, it's sad, because I actually think he was potentially going to be like a really, really top right back. Because even when he's at Porto, you can see glimpses. And then he had that season like 2-3 years ago at Leicester. I was like, this guy's going to the top. But he just doesn't seem to have recovered fully from his injuries. And now Rodgers keeps rotating him, Justin, and Castagna. But if one of them were available, and you can get them for a good price, not the Maguire price, then I think they're accessible options, I
think that's the problem, though, price, isn't it? Like, Leicester, they know how to negotiate a good fee. We've seen it plenty of times. And another thing here, just quickly on Ten Hag, improving plays. I was looking at stuff about Anthony in it. And Anthony had a quote on Ten Hag, which I thought was actually very good. He said, every player under his guidance becomes a better player thanks to his training. Ten Hag wants to do everything to make the team play well. He has many qualities. He knows how to improve the players he coaches. So that's very, like, obviously good to see how highly a player talks about Ten Hag.
Does that not bode well for us though in the transfer market in terms of the business side of things and the board looking at us Baines and saying, look, we want you to improve these players, so you're only getting 3 core players, you know, out of your list of.
I hear that, yeah. But at the same time, I do understand it kind of does make sense. Because remember, Ten Hag first came in, he said this squad has the potential because we came second the year before.
Yeah.
As much as people think like that was bad, he's playing into the Glazers and stuff, yeah, but he's correct. Like, and right, I said this year, we've seen the worst version of some of these players last year. Luke Shaw's not that bad. Harry Maguire's not that bad. I'm not saying they're world class, but they're still a better version of what we saw last year. They can't get worse. So I'm like, the players will naturally improve.
So for that second place though, Baines, I definitely feel like it was a false second place.
No, I agree with that.
I'm hearing that branded all over like the internet a little bit, and I agree with that much. But also, you know, Ralph kind of showed us that beyond the halfway line, we haven't got that industry, that creativity. Our defensive line are not comfortable beyond the halfway line. They leave so much space in behind. They're shaky. Our midfield can't connect our forward line and our defensive line well enough. They're not industrious enough. They don't have a range of tools in terms of their passing, driving through the lines. They can't really create much.
Now, I hear the faults in the players' games, but then would you also not say, what about Ralph Rangnick as a coach?
Oh yeah. No, he wasn't. He was a bit of a dinosaur, but just the fact that he tried to play attacking style of football and we weren't able to implement it as a squad, as a team, is that a bit of an issue for our squad of players?
I did think the first 2 to 3 months we were actually all right. As soon as we went out to Atletico, that's when I was like, yeah, that's it. The season's done now. These players have kind of given up. And we clearly saw it in terms of results and stuff. So I do think like as much as we criticize the players, as much as we criticize Ralph did get something out. We were creating chances for fun during that period. We were just missing everything. Even against Watford, that game.
Yeah, even in the middle of the game when we lost and we went out and I felt like the demise started.
Yeah, like we were still creating chances kind of thing. We just wasn't taking them. Which is why I'm like, as much as like we criticize the players, there's still more to see. And people can think that's naive. Like people can say lepers don't change their spots or whatever that saying is. But only time will tell, innit?
Listen, Austria, apparently Austria go, Ralph goes to Austria and they're pressing well and all these kind of things. So I just feel like our players were, there's a level of incompetence there, that and he definitely needs the transfers in. So I hope that, even though I think he will become a world-class coach, he's not there yet now. And this is the step up that, he has to do well here. And he's taken a risk, really, to be honest with you, because we all know that the job's very difficult. But, he needs help in the market. He needs backing in the market. He needs to get a good core of players that know how to play beyond the halfway line for me.
You know what I'm kind of confident as well? Remember when Ten Hag first came in, always interviewed? It seemed like Ten Hag was kind of interviewing the club, innit? And that was the first time, okay, people can say fake promises and stuff, yeah. But say if it isn't, Ten Hag has some confidence in his board.
Yeah.
Louis van Gaal said the thing the other day about Richard Arnold now being the CEO. I don't know much about Richard Arnold and how much and how well he is at his job kind of thing. But it is change. Only time will tell, really, innit?
Yeah. It remains to be seen. Yeah, I agree.
I like the mentality side of it as well. I like the fact that, like Marcel said, he's come to the club. There was definitely other options for him out there in Europe, whether they were Dortmunds or Mönchengladbachs or Man United or whatever it was. There are teams with a board and probably a squad in place that he could go in there and implement his style. And the fact that he's chosen Man United, he wants to do something different. I'm really looking forward to it as well, man. And he even came over. People might say he should do that anyway, but the fact that he went there and watched the Crystal Palace game on the last day of the season, he could have said, you know what, I won the league. I'm going to the Dominican Republic for 3 weeks and I'll start my work when I want to start my work. There's little things that he's just doing and coming back early, having them days here at Old Trafford a few days after he signed the deal. He just seemed to have his head screwed on. And I think one thing I like about him,
arrogance in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's arrogance, but also arrogance of not achieving what he wants to achieve yet. And when he's hungry within himself to achieve, so look at Mourinho, for example. We knew that he had done everything that he could have wanted. He could have retired if he wanted to. Obviously, he haven't. But when he came to the club, he had won everything already. So it's kind of I've won everything. Let me show. No, Ten Hag hasn't won everything yet. He's now at one of the biggest clubs in the world. So in his head, he wants to show the world. He wants to win still. He wants to win more things. So when he's got that mentality from within and because he hasn't achieved it yet, he's going to feed that into the players, and they haven't won it yet. So it's going to hopefully go together, and that's what I'm really excited for, man.
Is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap this up?
Yeah, that was a sick show.
Fantastic show. Looking forward to the first 10 games, what those fixtures are, because I feel like, you know, that killed us last season. The first 13 games, we had the best run of games out of the top 4 teams, top 6 teams if you want. We had the easiest run of games, that man, and Ty. And at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to seeing those set of fixtures, because I feel like that will you know, make us as fans a bit more confident to what our expectations can be. And what's your guys' expectations for the league actually coming into that? Where do you guys, you know, demand you know, trophies or first place finishes or top 4s, top 6s? What's your guys' expectations for the league?
Yeah, mine.
I mean, you haven't got the chance to see the squad yet, but what do you feel Man United should be placing next season?
I feel like, okay, City and Liverpool are clear above, and I feel like with Chelsea needing reinforcements, they haven't got that yet. Spurs are looking quite strong for top 4. I would like to be top 4. That would be my maximum expectation in the league. I don't think we're better than that, so I think 4th. If we finish 5th or 6th, it is what it is, and I do think that we can challenge for the Europa League. So I think domestic cup competitions, Carabao and FA Cup, I'll put that to the side. They're freebies because you could draw Man City in the 3rd round. So yeah, domestic cups put aside, see what happens. League, I'd like top 4. And Europa League, I feel like that's the trophy that we could win. And I'm excited to see how we go in that competition.
I would love top 4 here, but I said this, like, first day of the rebuild, if we finish 5th, I'm happy. Yeah, like, it's not even about league position for me. It's just about performances. As long as I can see the players are buying into Ten Hag, and Ten Hag's obviously showing his qualities as a manager, I'm fine.
Okay, Baines, just quickly throw a curveball. If you said 5th, but then we get knocked out in the last 16 in the Europa League, would you be disappointed?
Depends against who.
Okay, fair. Yeah, good. Yeah.
And you know another thing, I said this here. I feel like Tottenham have now got top 4 wrapped up.
Yeah.
Chelsea, I want to see.
Yeah, because like, between us, I do think it's between us and Chelsea. I think we'll be better than Arsenal. I think Arsenal need to. Yeah,
don't you think it's been a problem for us though, not being in that? You've seen how important that Champions League, that I don't know what it is, but like just being in the Champions League, the access to footballers, the type of footballers we can get. Do you think if we finish 5th next season, it maybe pulls us further away from accessing the best footballers in the world?
That's why I want Europa League, though, Marcel. What if we get 5th and win Europa League? We're in the Champions League.
I also do feel like it depends on how we finish 5th, innit? Like, surely if we're playing well and finish 5th, players are still going to see this club is on the upwards now. If we're finishing 5th, like how for example, we finished 6th this year, innit? Just dilly-dallying around results, getting results here and there, but we weren't playing well, then I think that would be a worry. So I think it depends on how.
Okay, now
what about you, Marcel?
No, I definitely agree. I just want to know the in-depth. I think 5th, 6th, 7th. I'm still supporting Ten Hag next season. He's got a complete freebie in my mind. I'm 100%. I just want him to implement the style of football, like you said, Ty. Yeah. That's the most important thing for me. It's just a lot of fans are really anxious about. We have to be in top 4. We have to have access to the best footballers in the world right now.
Top 4 is the max. If we finish 4th, I think all of us would take it right now.
Overperformed.
Yeah. But I think. But I do understand that argument. I agree with that sentiment in that Champions League is such an important thing. And we need to still try and behave like a big club. So I think Ten Hag maybe still goes into it expecting or demanding top 4 finishes, 3rd place, 2nd place finishes. I just think in reality, even if we finish 7th, 8th, I'm still going to support Ten Hag. I'm still going to believe in what he's trying to do. But I would like to see us, like Statman said, maybe 5th. But I really hope and I'm believing that we're going to get 4th, like you're saying as well. So I'm on the fence a little bit. But
what about the cups? Where you sit on the cups with the Europa League, for example?
No issue at all. I didn't like how Oli played the cup against West Ham. We got out very early. It was a poor goal. I didn't like the way that he. I didn't like the team in that game. I remember the team. So just get as far as you can and play an honest team throughout. I would say in all cup competitions.
Do you think, yes or no? Do you think we can win the Europa League?
Yes.
Yeah, same as me. Okay, fair. Yeah.
This is Manchester United, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Ain't any like
that's what I'm saying.
Dick and Harry side kind of
in
thing.
the Europa League, I'm really happy with that. I'll take that definitely.
Yes, I'm very confident, and I can't wait to hopefully go to a couple of Europa League games next, because Champions League ones were nice last season, and I really hope to go to the Europa League ones this season. So yeah, I think we can win it, and I believe we should be going into that competition, guys, believing that we can win it.
Thanks. Perfect. Baines, you're muted.
You're muted, mate.
Flipping hell, man. Listen, all I said, was big up everyone for watching. This was a quality show. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe to Trafford Tunnel. The link is going to be in the title. Make sure you guys follow Marcel as well on all these platforms. Hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, man. It was amazing, man. It was amazing. I want to do more, guys, man. I want to do more, man, because we've been meaning to do this. Just even with you, Statman, when I met you, man, you're a good guy, man. And I'm looking forward to hopefully doing loads more throughout the season. And yourself as well, Ty, man. We need to
we've been messaging, man. It's overdue. So thank you for getting back to me today, man. And like I said, it's going to be better because we're going to have a manager now that's going to get a better football, and hopefully we could just talk about it positively and constructively over the season. So yeah, people, like I said all of the time as well, big up, obviously, Marcel jumping on. Obviously, I know it's Statman's channel, but I just love doing this as well. But United View and what they're doing over there, big up Flex and everyone and on that side. Trafford Tunnel's where I'm at, and Never a Foul as well. Never a Foul relaunched this week, so please go and check that out on our way to 3K. And then, of course, keep supporting Statman Baines, man, a real brother. And love the show, man. So thank you for having me every time.
I'll be back soon with another show. We'll see what happens in it, because my schedule is just all over the place. But listen,
you're on with me tonight, because this is out tomorrow. You're on with me tonight as in fixture day. We're doing Trafford Tunnel and then Never a Foul for the generic fixtures with Man City with Daps. So yeah,
listen, we better get an easy running.
Quick one, guys. Who do you think is going to be the first game of it? Just random off your head guess. Who do you think the first game of the season is going to be? Guess, random guess. It's going to come out tomorrow. Random guess.
Brighton or Newcastle?
Brighton and Newcastle.
Brighton or Newcastle. One of them.
Wolves at home.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking it's a home game as well, but I'm thinking for some reason it's going to be against Arsenal. Yeah, someone told me Arsenal at home.
We'll see you 9:15. We'll message each other. We'll just see.
Listen, we'll see what happens in it.
At home, I've just been thinking because it was such a mad atmosphere. But anyway, Arsenal at home as well.
Yeah, man.
Listen, as long as we win our first game, I don't really care, innit? We'll see what happens. But big up everyone for watching. We will be